The state of New York is one of the most dysfunctional, authoritarian states in the nation. And the South, the southern United States, is the fastest growing part of the country. Florida, Georgia, Texas, North and South Carolina, Tennessee, all of our states are growing like wildfire. People are leaving the North and coming to the South. They've been doing it for decades. And it's time for it to stop because the New Yorkers that are leaving, they're fleeing the state of New York because it's expensive, it's cold, it's dysfunctional, the taxes are too high, so many negatives about New York. And the problem is when you move to other states like my home state of Georgia, like Florida, like Texas, like North and South Carolina, like I just said, y'all bring y'all same voting habits down south and you keep voting blue no matter who. And that same voting blue no matter who is what ruined your state. It's what ruined California. It's what ruined New Jersey and Illinois and all these other blue states where the government just enacts these crazy policies. Look at what New York is doing right now.
And so it begins. New York City will be the first city in America to charge Americans just to go to work in the morning.
Very first state in the nation, the very first city in America to have a congestion pricing plan.
Americans will have to pay around $23 per day.
Passenger vehicles would be charged $15 to enter the congestion zone, trucks between $24 and $36 depending on size, and motorcycles $7.50. Those tolls would be charged once per day and would be in effect between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on weekends. Fees.
The proposal aims to reduce traffic.
So there you have it. The state of New York is going to, well, the city of New York City, not the state. And I know that New York City's policies are not statewide, but New York City runs the state of New York. Let's not even play any games. Just like where I'm from, Atlanta runs Georgia because it's a top heavy state. Most of the population of New York lives in that New York metropolitan area. And there's several states that are like that: Arizona, Colorado, etc., Georgia, whatever. And I know in some parts of Western New York, those places are pretty cool. They're pretty based. You know, they don't have the wackiness that New York has. But Kathy Hochul is your governor. Kathy Hochul runs your state. And the policies that she signs into law, it is what it is. And it's unfortunate that the good got to suffer with the bad, but that's just the way it happens in some of these states. So in New York City, they're going to charge people upwards of $23 a day just to drive in the congestion zone. That's insane to me. Trucks and cars, and I've driven in New York, and it's not a place that you want to drive. It's a very wild city to drive in. It cost me $15 to just drive into New York from New Jersey. I stayed in New Jersey, and I drove under the Lincoln Tunnel, and it costed $15 just to drive under the tunnel. It's amazing to me how they just nickel and dime you to death up there. I could never leave the South for the North. It would never happen. It's cool to visit, but living, absolutely no. We really need to build two walls. We need to build a southern wall with Mexico, and we need to build a wall around the South because we're the last normal part of the country. From North Carolina all the way through Tennessee and Arkansas, Texas, all that. We need to cover it all up. This is the same state that tells people that they're not going to be allowed to have gas stoves. And people are pushing back on this, but the people with common sense are outnumbered. In the state of Florida, there are over 2 million New Yorkers. 2 million. Kathy Hochul's a leftist, a far leftist. A Democrat approved the ban this spring of the installation of fossil fuel equipment in new buildings, set to take effect in 2026. This is the same city that allows no guns for law-abiding citizens. This is the same city that calls themselves a sanctuary city, where people from anywhere in the world can just come across the southern border, and when they get bused to New York, they get, housing sometimes. Sometimes they have to sleep on the ground, but they'll eventually give them housing. And now the goofy mayor, Eric Adams, is saying, we got to do something about this. But you were welcoming the migrants at one point, Mr. Adams. So deal with it. Like the old saying goes, elections have consequences. People are slowly waking up, but my God, I feel sorry for the people in New York that have common sense and they want to leave, but they can't. And I know that we can't really build a wall around the South, but my God, we don't mind people coming down South, but stop voting how you voted up North. That woman looks evil, doesn't she? She looks possessed. And this guy named Lee Zeldin, he's a Republican. He came within, I think, 5 to 6 points of winning the election. But, you know, New York is just so blue. And it was a strong year for Republicans to flip New York. And he came close, but he didn't quite get over the finish line. New York has lost over 300,000 people since the mid-2020s. And, of course, COVID accelerated it because of the policies. This is the same city that told you that if you don't get vaccinated, you can't come to certain restaurants. Over 300,000 people have left New York since 2020. That's over 100,000 people a year. And where are they going? They're going to Arizona. They're going to Nevada. They're going to Texas. They're going to Georgia. They're going to Florida. And they make our states bluer and bluer. Like I said, I don't have a problem with people from there. I have friends from New York. I actually like most people from New York. Most people from New York are actually pretty cool. But please stop moving to our states and voting blue no matter who. Please. And if it keeps happening, we're going to have to do something to protect our welfare, our, sense of well-being, our quality of life. We got to take care of home. Because at the end of the day, people that move to another state, they don't really have as much invested as a person that grew up there their whole life. People from Texas really love Texas. People from Georgia really love Georgia. People from Florida really love Florida. And everywhere else that they keep moving to. So you got to understand our frustration and our hostility sometimes when people from up north come down south. Because the policies that you are running from, you will end up voting for them to come to where you're moving to. And that's a big problem, and it has to stop. And you just have to ask yourself, in today's very difficult economy with the crazy inflation and the crazy, skyrocketing prices for just day-to-day life, rent, mortgages, food, gas, everything. Why would, the New York City government, why would Kathy Hochul, why would they, purposely raise prices on people in one of the most expensive places in the world? New York City is one of the most expensive places on the planet, not just America, but on the planet to survive. And they are adding yet another expense to people's day-to-day lives because they don't care about you, but yet you keep voting for them.
This state is going to change the country. Texas turning blue is inevitable. Texas turning blue is inevitable.
You heard what she said. Texas turning blue is inevitable. That's what they want to do. They want to come to your state like a swarm of locusts and turn it blue. That's what they want to do. And not, like I said, it's not all New Yorkers. It's not all Northerners. I'm really being facetious, but I'm not being facetious. I'm also being serious because this is a major, 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 major problem. And we just can't have Georgia, Florida, Texas, and some of the bigger states down south becoming blue states because the things that attracted those people to these states in the first place was that we're not blue no matter who. We do have our own set of laws and policies that make us different, that make us stand out, and we like it that way. Like I said, you're welcome to come, you're welcome to stay, but please keep that Democrat policy away. And that's all I have to say for this video. Y'all like, y'all share, y'all subscribe, follow, comment. Peace.